All right. All right. Chat is small as can be, but I'll have to deal with that. I really do like running my lives from. I really do prefer running my lives from the Rumble application rather than going online. And then when you go online, it sends you to like an online, sort of like Twitch. How Twitch is set up, it sends you to like their stream platform area of their online. It's where it's set up almost exactly like the application, but like I don't have access to the campaigns here on the application. So hit the number of viewers, I can't speak the campaign, get paid for that. Just things like that. And I think it's my internet that's messing with it. I dropped down, got throttled down on my Boost Mobile, so I swapped out SIM cards into my shittier internet. Oh, will this not go landscape? Have to make it go landscape. Flip camera. Let's go landscape. It really won't go landscape mode in this one. What was that about? Stream redirect. Oh, okay, that's cool. That's how they're doing that. Like when they're on YouTube and they say, all right, now we're going to go over to locals, stream redirect. And I got that down. I didn't know that. Interesting. Oh, and I can bring my chats up right there. Oh, and can I actually see who's watching? I don't require approval to share my link. All right, we're good now. Anyways, I really thought I could put that in landscape on here. That's different too, because I can, on the internet, when it throws me over into their, whatchamacallit, for the internet, it's kind of, I know I'm making it sound confusing, I'm not explaining it very well. There's the studio for the application, which is what I'm using right now. And then you can just go live regularly on the internet, and you really don't get any of the interactive benefits of the live, like really the chat and all that shit. It's impossible to use that way. But they've added a new option where you go to the top, instead of saying go live, you go to studio. And it sends you to a different thing than the Rumble studio. Unless I just haven't, maybe I have to update this studio. Maybe I'll try that. Give it an update. That might work. So rather than harping on, which I'll find something to fucking harp on terpologically at some point, but just want to make it a public service announcement. All of my work that I put up on locals and anything that I like repost to Reddit, or see, I have a Reddit, or several Redditors actually. One of them accused me of copying Bruce Bugabee. Another one today accused me of copying some other scientist. However, I will prove to you with this very simple statement and act of thought practice here. So, yes, true. Scientists, and some in the United States, have been able to study cannabis to a very limited extent. I've already discussed many times over how the majority of studies have come out of the University of Mississippi, and how for 20 years, for example, Dial Walker Craker fought the FDA in court trying to gain access to the ability to study the cannabis that we have. Peer-reviewed researchers aren't even allowed to do anecdotal research on us, people that are smoking it regularly anyway. Now, that's changing slightly, but most of what that change has revolved around was hemp. And it's all about Epidiolex and the FDA. Speaking of which, did you know that the federal government, as of 2001, now think about this one, scratch your head with this one. This was when 2001, California was well on into, like they were thriving. The marijuana industry, because it was a thriving recreational industry. When it went legal, it just fucking boomed. Hence the DEA kicking their doors down. Forgot where I was going with that. Oh, yes. Oh, no. Oh, yeah, the FDA owning the rights to the cannabinoids, to the non-psychoactive cannabinoids, which I think is kind of funny because I have a feeling that the FDA is under the impression for some reason, for somehow, maybe it's because the hippies like the THC, I don't know, that there's no therapeutic application in THC. And I think that they're hoping that the therapeutic application is in the non-psychoactive cannabinoids. Or maybe that's the only ones they were allowed to get a patent on is the non-psychoactive cannabinoids. But believe it or not, our government and the psychoactive ones, they simply took and made a medication out of the psychoactive compounds, and ergo, because of medication competition stipulations and shit like that, good luck doing that. Essentially, what happens is when there's a medication that's put to market, there's so many years that medication's on market where a new competition can't be put onto market with it so that they can do their studies and blah, blah, blah. In my opinion, once the fucking pill's on market, studies should be done. Like, it shouldn't have anything to do with... Anyway, that's one of the techniques they use to maintain control over pharmaceuticals like that. But there are 3 pharmaceuticals derived from THC, which is, you have Marinol, Syndros, 2, actually. No, there are 3. Casemet, something like that. That might actually be Syndros, though. And Epidiolex. So we'll say it's 2. I think there might be 3, but I know of 2 for sure. Dronabinol and Casemet, Syndros, and then Epidiolex. Epidiolex is CBD derived, right? And the FDA owns the patent to the therapeutic application of what Epidiolex does, which is the quelling of seizure activity in neurodivergent children over the age of 1 with certain neurological deficiencies. All right. That blew my fucking mind when I heard that there's only a total of 21 patents on strains of cannabis, and that this just began in 2016, which kind of tells you what was happening there, that companies are buying the patents to the strains. I mean, you have to... I don't know the exact details as to proving the novelty of your strain and what all you would have to... I guess you'd have to prove a novel... That you'd have to show that it's somehow different from everything else on the market. That it's completely new, nothing else been done like this. Which I believe can be done. It's done all the time. And that's part of what Terpological protocol is. Back to my main point there. Just because a scientist has researched terpenes independently or researched cannabinoids independently, it doesn't negate my work in researching longitudinally over time, my own anecdotal experiences, and utilizing the fact that I am smart. If you want to cringe at that, then fucking cringe. I don't care. I'm allowed to be proud of myself for being intelligent. That's okay. It's not narcissistic. That's acknowledging that I have a skill and I'm using it. And the fact that I've studied cannabis for 20 some odd years, because I've also been a very dedicated cannabis advocate for long before it was safe and smart to do so. What I don't, for example, this individual today, they post this big long rant in my comment section, because people typically, they see something in comments like that and it grabs a hold of them, they want to read it. So a big long rant, and I could tell where they copied and pasted and then where they started typing, which whatever, copy and paste. But inside of their article, the article literally said in the article, further research is, or further peer-reviewed research is needed in order to further the study, in order to, like, the whole point of the study was attempting to associate terpenes to certain effects. But you aren't doing, you can't do that. I will say this 1,000 times. You cannot associate the effects of terpenes while studying them independently outside of cannabis. And that's pretty much the only studies that have taken place, because of the FDA preventing studies from taking place. And yes, there has been a rollback on some of that, and it got switched over from the FDA to the NIH, who's in charge of actually issuing the peer-reviewed research, if you're allowed to or not. That's changed up some, but again, the majority of that switch up was around CBD dominant hemp. So, and if you're a CBD dominant hemp kind of person, you like that kind of stuff, you might check out my live the other night where I talked about the fact that the DEA is genuinely considering rolling back the hemp legislation that the FDA pushed through so that they could put Epidiolex onto the market and claim it as their own, which technically they've already 20 years, well, 15 years prior to the development of Epidiolex, created a patent on, I mean, they had it going since 1996, the same year that California applied to for medicinal cannabis, and the same year that started in California. If I recall properly, that's the year that the FDA applied, and maybe it was 86. I can't remember. Anyway, they got it in 2001. The patent to non-psychoactive cannabinoids, which I would imagine as soon as the it's able to be done, it's moved into Schedule 3 or it's moved off of the CSA, however, whatever they have to do to manage this, which would probably be both of the above, definitely removed off the CSA, Controlled Substances Act. But as soon as they do that, I mean, how in the fuck did they even get, because the cannabinoids, even the non-psychoactive cannabinoids, are still part of cannabis. And it's still, even hemp, until they redefined it in 2014, it was classified as, on the Controlled Substances Act, as marijuana. That whole less than 0.3% THC thing, like, hemp had less THC because it wasn't being grown to produce THC. You just grow the cannabis to, one, get bigger stalks, so you're looking for different types of genetics in the cannabis. So it's different, but it's not as different as what some people try to think it is. I had somebody on Reddit attempting to argue me that there's 4 types of cannabis: sativa, indica, afghanica, and ruderalis, right? Okay, no, there's indica, sativa, and ruderalis. I looked up afghanic. There's a strain called afghanica, and indica actually didn't come from Afghanistan. It came from the Himalayan mountains. It fell like trekked down into Afghanistan. But yeah, Afghanica is that's a strain. Yeah, I had somebody trying to like full on, not just like a quick back and forth. I mean, people writing like articles back to me. Like, again, it was copy and pasted, but nonetheless, they took the time to attempt to debunk it. And I put it out honestly for people to, in hopes that people will attempt to use it and understand the ease with which it is used, because I know I sound confusing as fuck sometimes when I'm going over this shit, and I know I ramble some, and many times I'm not the best communicator on here. I'm not gonna lie about that. It's a good thing I have some other things to keep people interested. Although I need to get my setup better in here so you can see shit. Can't see anything except my ugly mug right now. My cool wall art. Backwards ass camera. All right, I need a dab. Have a dab. Let's get our RSO under our tongue before we start dabbing. Dr. Solomon, I thank you. This is Dr. Solomon's RSO. That's the brand. Brand. Something entrepreneurs won't be able to do because the corporation that is, well, the corporation that is cannabis in Maryland is ensuring that entrepreneurs won't be able to brand their companies. Why? Because industry will be selling dabs to the recreational market come July. You heard it here first. And until I'm told otherwise, I know the legislation was written that entrepreneurs are only allowed to process distillate and edibles, specifically relative to the terpenes, because distillate doesn't have terpenes, you add them back in, and edibles uses botanical terpenes. Ergo, they get to control the entirety of the dab market to recreational and medicinal patients. So what? They get to control dabs. They can sell distillate. Can't. Well, the point is that think about Evermore. Think about how well Evermore was branded in the and nobody liked the prices, but they were able to push those prices because of their unique branding and their unique position in the space. There's maybe one or two other companies that sit in sort of different niches that hold a candle to what Evermore does. Again, I know it's an industrial business. My problem isn't with the companies, the independent companies. My problem is with those that are in charge of the companies, like MaryMed Maryland and all of these other corporate fucking higher ups that make up the USCCA, which is technically the United States United States Cannabis. Oh shit! Now I'm just thinking of what I thought it was. My trope on it. CCA, United States. Oh, the United States Corporate Cannabis Association. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. What I call it is the United States Cannabis Cartel and Conglomerates Association. Cannabis Cartel / Conglomerate, USCCA. The second C stands for cartel or conglomerate. You pick. The conglomerate is a cartel. These companies, the same companies, are moving state to state and simply looking at the politics of that state, red or blue, and then implementing whatever tactic they used before in the new state. If you look at Florida and how miserably truly it failed there, they came into Maryland and did things a little bit differently. But I think it's still funny that they like bribed the fuck out of their mayors and everybody down in Florida to get Truly up and running and off the ground. Like, bribe the fucking living hell out of people. And this is proven through a 3-year sentence handed down to the husband of Truly CEO, Kim Corruptible Rivers, JT Barnett, who also has a $1.25 million fine for those public corruption charges related to the founding of their business. Sounds like very trustworthy people to have at the top of cannabis industry in Maryland, advocating for Maryland cannabis, right? Definitely sounds like the type of people we want in there, huh? Or consider that when these companies came into the state and were asking for their medicinal licensing, and the state was getting their millions and millions and millions of dollars, and we haven't seen a fuck all of any of that. Which I would like to know how many of the entrepreneurs, that would be nice to know, how many entrepreneurs that entered the market, you know, that made up their entry fees, made up that $9 million that was pulled in just from their entry fees. I'd like to know how many of them benefited from the big old numbers that was supposed to be helping the disproportionately affected individuals of the state. So remember, the whole legislation was written all leftist and hardcore left-leaning, and you need to get the disproportionately affected people. Yet, people that know the game in Maryland understand what I'm saying. Garrett County, Allegheny County, Hagerstown, there's 2 fucking spots up here in Allegheny County, 1 in Hagerstown, at least 3 in all of Western Maryland. Everything, they did the exact opposite of what they said they were going to. This is the first time, not the first time, but the first time it's been this blatant that I've seen politicians and people who write the law say that they're not going to do something, and then they specifically do that thing specifically. Like, they came out and said, we are going to make sure that downtown Baltimore is not inundated with pot businesses. I don't live in downtown Baltimore. I could give a shit less. I would be happy with a bunch of pot business. But the point is, they put over 63% of those fucking entrepreneurial businesses in Baltimore, Baltimore City, and Prince George's County. Right there, that one fucking area. I realize it's a high population area, but that's not the entire state. People live in every other part of the state too. And I'm sure part of it's to fucking try to draw money back into Baltimore, so people but that's not going to do that. People are just going to go to the dispensary closest to them no matter what. People aren't going, it just, oh boy. Anyway, and honestly, what it's going to do is drive a bunch, and it's just one more thing that you can point to the industry and say, why the fuck did we set it up like it? Why did you set it up like this? Because they don't want competition. They've said that from the beginning. We want a closed market where they are in charge. The state is in charge, and they are the thumb of the state in cannabis. Corporate cannabis, the corporations, the fact that this is being led by multi-millionaires has to stop. Money can be made from cannabis. It doesn't have to be $1 billion a year on your second fucking year. It's driving me crazy because honestly, that question right there, where the fuck is all the tax money? Hundreds of millions of dollars at this point. What the fuck has it done? I'm sure somebody can point out a few good things or something here and there, but again, disproportionately affected people, all the loans and helping people pay for their $125,000 annual fee, help people pay for their $50,000 licensing fee, the $5,000 entry fee for the full license, the $1,000 entry fee for the partial license. Maybe hit back some of those 500 applicants that got kicked out after they paid their entry fee. Give them back $1,000, you know, since you're giving back every dispensary in the state of Maryland that decided to convert to the dual market, which this is another fun one. These people paid for their licenses, right? Their medical licenses. Well, then they were told, because the industry that wanted to do this and cancel out some of their competition, that they needed to pay $2.48 million if they wanted to keep their dispensary and turn it into a dual market. And they could keep their medical licenses, but they wouldn't be able to sell on the new marketplace because it's not a medicinal and recreational market. No, it's a dual marketplace. So it's a dual licensing system. Okay. There's recreational marketplace but they have a dual licensing. Right? That ran businesses like Cannabis, one of the only female-owned businesses in Maryland, out of business. Won't say it was directly caused by that. Maybe they just didn't want to participate in the nonsense anymore that's happening with this. But either way, at that time, Cannabis went out of business and was purchased by none other than an individual, one of the main driving forces behind this bullshit legislation and the payouts to these state legislators, Mackie No Bite Bart, CEO of Culpa. So, yeah, people in the state, people just need to speak up. There's not enough people standing up and saying, people are too satisfied simply being allowed to use the substance and not having to worry about cops and being able to get an entire fucking, the families of an entire state could be benefiting from the marketplace that is in existence right now, making some of those millions of dollars. The state can make taxes off of entrepreneurs selling cannabis. There's no fucking need, there's no reason to do it like this. I need a dab now. I gotta take a dab. I'm just gonna keep rambling and get more agitated with it. It does get very irritating though when the only option for somebody truly passionate and interested in cannabis, even if you grow cannabis, even if you have knowledge of this, that, or the other, is to take that knowledge and hope that you can get reasonable pay from one of these corporations. One of the good things now, though, there is benefit looking up in that. And one area there is they're no longer allowed to hold you under non-competes, which honestly I thought was bullshit, because non-competes were meant to protect proprietary this, proprietary that, whatever was proprietary. Okay? It's meant to protect you so that people don't try to steal your shit. Well, nothing that the industry is doing is quote unquote their shit. Unless they have a strain that they have patented to them. And then I argue that the genetics that they used for that strain, if they came from somebody on the recreational market, no. I mean, sure, they got a patent, it's a novel thing, but it's not legitimate to me. It might be legitimate to the law or whatever, because those people who developed those strains on the recreational market. Like, do you see what I'm saying here? Do you see how fucked up that is? That strains were created for 60 years on an illicit market underground, and now millionaire corporations are going to be able to take and claim those. They're already doing it. It's ramped up every year. The number of patents, I looked before I came on, the number of patents has increased every year since they started claiming patents. There was first one that happened in 2016, and in 2017 there were 3. In 2018 there were a couple, I think 6. There's a total of 21 patents on cannabis types right now, excluding the patent on non-psychoactive cannabinoids owned by our own federal government, or the patent on the THC derivatives derived out of THC, dronabinol, and casemet, Syndros. If you wonder why I keep saying those names like that, I'm pretty sure that casemet is Syndros, or Syndros made casemet. can't remember which, but then the Marinol is dronabinol. The drug in it is Marinol. The drug is called dronabinol. I think maybe it's the other way around. Anyway, that's the U.S. government's hand in the synthesized cannabinoids, synthesized THC, synthesized psychoactive cannabinoids. Isn't that funny, though, that the FDA says, no, there's no therapeutic function in any of that shit. But, you know, just in case, we're going to get a patent on all of those non-psychoactive components. Which, again, I'd like to know how it was done while hemp still remained under cannabis as a controlled substance. It's still listed as cannabis, but if you catch what I'm saying there, it really doesn't make much sense. How come the FDA is allowed to claim a patent on molecules that exist in nature? Like what? And then on top of that, okay, so now it makes sense. Think about that, though. I just now thought about this. The Stanley brothers and the development of Charlotte's Web from the beginning must have been, like, they must have known they were giving it to the DEA. Because to the FDA, because the FDA has the patent on non-psychoactive cannabinoids. So, like, from the start, I guess that's crazy. That just now hit. That's wild. Anyway. I mean, they were smart. Those brothers are really smart men. So I'm sure they knew what they were doing, but I don't know that their most desired outcome was, I think what they wanted to do was to further and prove that cannabis does have therapeutic value, which everybody knows the use is involved with it, but it's proving it and making the FDA stop gaslighting the entire country and pretending that there is no therapeutic value in it. With that said, I will also say that the medicinal application of cannabis that has been developed on the recreational market under extreme prohibition in the United States is a topic of discussion. Cannabis can, as the Stanley brothers showed, be developed into something specifically oriented to avert a particular unwelcome condition. If you have seizures, you can create a substance that works for seizures. If you have inability to eat, you can create something that forces you to eat. And I don't mean something, oh yeah, this stuff gives you the munchies. I mean, like, this stuff in particular gives you the munchies. Or this stuff, guaranteed, will put you to sleep. This stuff won't put you to sleep. It will make you focused without anxiety and jitteriness. I want to delve in and find out all that stuff. That's what Terpological protocol is. And yes, again, scientists have studied all the various terpenes and all of the terpenes in cannabis independently. But as far as taking that information and extrapolating it to experience and understanding the experience insofar as the lean, because the lean of the cannabis on the tree may not be the same as what the fucking experience is. And I've come in many times, many different situations, found out that is the case. It's typically close because obviously why? In my mind anyway, it's typically close. It's obvious why it's typically close. Need a dab. Take a dab. So, like, there's studies, for example, like I referenced the one about beta-myrcene being subcutaneously and intraperitoneally injected into lab rats that showed beta-myrcene has analgesic properties on par with prescription opiates. So, it's an independent study of myrcene, which, what did it tell us? It tells us that myrcene is analgesic in nature, right? Well, yes, it does have a slight analgesic nature also in cannabis, but I argue myrcene, moreover, in cannabis today, is pertinent to sativa, as where you would think analgesia, indica, in that it increases, proliferates. A lot of terpenes are proliferators. Proliferates THC across the blood-brain barrier to CB1 receptors specifically. However, when you take beta-myrcene and you add beta-caryophyllene into the profile, and let's say trans-caryophyllene was there, trans-caryophyllene does not have as much sedative ability and myrcene doesn't enhance the sedation of as much as you get a enhancement of the sedation of beta-caryophyllene with beta-caryophyllene and myrcene. That is indica expression. The beta-caryophyllene, myrcene, well, not the beta-caryophyllene is what you want to look for if you're looking specifically for indica. If you're going into the dispensary and you want to find an indica strain, obviously anything that sounds like Afghani or something, but look for beta-caryophyllene and then ensure that it's not a sativa. Make sure your terpenoline is low, ocimene is low, which typically indicate that you have heavier leaning indica. Now, some 60-40 indicas can present with terpenoline or ocimene, which are sativa leaning characteristic terpenes, in the secondary or sometimes in the primary hierarchy, in the hierarchical arrangement of the terpenes. Primary, secondary, tertiary. Now I got to reheat because I talked too much. But I don't know if people are just messing with me and trying to make me type pointlessly, because I really do try to defend it's, you know what I mean? I spend a lot of time on this fucking thing. And if you don't really pay attention to it, that's cool. I mean, it is what it is. But if you do pay attention to it, you realize how much work I put into it. You got I think 364 or 400. I think I've got between 300 and 400 posts on Locals right now. And 90% of that is dedicated to advancing my understanding of Terpological protocol. Take this dab. This is white grapes from Kind Tree. Cheers. If you want to know why I smoke my dabs like that, I wrote an article on that the other day too. How to properly take a dab, in my opinion, when your lighter's cooperating. When your lighter's not cooperating, that's why I have my little torch. But it's all right. We'll get this to work for us. Yeah. Oh my goodness, it feels so good. You got no idea how much I love cannabis. And I'm sorry, but you can call that an addicted personality reaction or whatever you want. I don't know. I know some people have said they're addicted to cannabis, like physically dependent or something like that. I don't think it's possible to become physically dependent on cannabis. Psychologically dependent, yes. However, I think it's a very weak psychological dependence, and it's one that it sometimes does need addressing, for sure. But it's definitely one of the lesser of the evils. I mean, any fucking thing can. We have medicine that doctors prescribe to people that insane stuff. I didn't understand that people were actually going through withdrawal symptoms from SSRIs until recently. I was looking into benzodiazepine withdrawal information because that is one of the worst withdrawals anybody can ever experience. I'm not going to get into it. But yeah. And stuff. All right. I cleaned a bunch of my bangers out earlier, and I cleaned both of my reclaim catches out earlier. And I have a shit ton of really good low temp reclaim. So I'm gonna smoke some of it. And I can tell the difference between what's in here that's like low temp and the stuff that's not. It's harder. Like the stuff that I smoked and it pulled through into the reclaim that was like completely burnt, it leaves like a harder residue. The low temp leaves a much, it's more clear, it's not as dark. And it's much stringier, almost like the more difficult it is to work with, it seems. Because I watch you know what I mean, when the dabs pull back into the stem, how all that happens. I like watching the fucking dab rigs and how they function and how the oil pulls up in, the smoke ignites, rolls around. All right, take a big fat fucking dab at reclaim. Big old amalgamation of some Maryland cannabis here. Come on, buddy, you can do it. Just a little bit further. If you're wondering what I did down there, I had to light the lighter and hold it directly in front of the flame. To keep the flame going. All right, wait. That's the flame going out and coming back on. If you didn't know, that's why I need to move the camera back so people can see that shit. But anyway, here, this is some reclaim. Some really freaking good reclaim. Cheers. it's completely different from the onset. Like, I felt a very strong onset, but it's way different from the onset of a straight dab. Like, the dab has, you can tell it's got a lot more THC psychoactive component to it. Reclaim, for me, gives me more of like the relaxation through my muscles and my body and shit. Apologies. And I should have finished that sentence. Like, for the first hit, 2 hits like that. Once you take 3 or 4 hits of reclaim, you're at the same high, pretty much. In my opinion. You're definitely high. That's definitely not arguable. Like, sometimes when you smoke a ball of resin, like, oh man, I don't know if I got high or not. Not like that with reclaim. You'll know you got high. Oh, you'll know. You'll know. I like the internet and stuff because I like the ability to disseminate my work and share dabs and shit. Share my ideas and thoughts, even if there's only 1 or 2 people out there listening. But people be fucking toxic online, man. And I don't understand, like, I understand. I understand perfectly what it is. And I'm sorry if you're part of the younger generation. All right, it's not your fault. It's the fault of the schools that didn't fucking do what they were fucking supposed to. And I'm sorry if you liked the way your school was, but your school didn't do what it was fucking supposed to. I don't know how we got a whole fucking group of like 20 somethings right now. Like, they yell at me about my typos. Okay, I've gotten screamed at several times about my typos in my locals articles. But those same people will write to me like, I must just be getting fucking old. I don't know, because this, like, the way they write, it's like, somebody wrote me earlier today and it was like ... It was like 3/4 of a sentence, like as if I was supposed to imagine what the beginning of the sentence was or something, or like I knew exactly what he was talking about ... this. And it wasn't like ... as in you don't need to know and this is what you need to know ... as in it came from this statement. Not like that. Like, it, yeah, I don't understand it. Anyway, I was making it. Some of my fucking articles, I do have a lot of typos in. Because I hate editing. I hate going back through the shit and rechecking it. And then my problem, I don't mind editing, honestly, but I like to do it over time. I don't like to just sit there and fucking find the stuff all at once. Like, give me a couple hours to do it, or like where I can come back to it. But with the articles, once I post it, after like 15 minutes or 20 minutes or some shit, I can't access the edit button. It just uploads and I can't edit it. So if the articles, yeah, those are, I can't fix the typos. So you see really blatant, obvious, crazy fucking typos on the articles. No, I just can't fix them. But they're very good articles. It's not like the whole thing's written in like fucking little kid or something. Like you can't understand it at all. It's just normal typos here and there. Like it was supposed to be this key, but that button was close, so it ended up being that key. And being like now in the 4th generation that has been typing on keyboards, I'm pretty sure we know what a typo looks like. I say that because some of them would be like, it's your grammar. You can't even speak correctly, but you think you know about cannabis and the science of cannabis. That's how that guy got at the end of the letter. Or it was a letter that he wrote to me on Reddit. But at the end of it, he says, but I guess a smart guy like you would know something like that. Or I'll have to figure out the screen share and share some of those things on here because it's pretty funny. Some of the things that people say. And I used to just like honestly think, because I know they're just fucking with me. Like when they're not, I seriously engage them. When it's people who really want to discuss what's going on, what I'm talking about, and people who really want to talk about cannabis or like, hey, good job or whatever, or if they want to give me legitimate criticism, I'll listen. But I'm not just going to let you tell me that everything I'm doing, he literally said at the end of it that I was reinventing the wheel. No, I'm not. Like literally in the article that he gave me as his proof that what I was doing was simply a copy of this other man's work, which again is not possible because the other man did peer-reviewed research and there's no way he was smoking cannabis doing peer-reviewed research on his own smoking of cannabis. So not possible. Anyway, and knowing what I do about the peer-reviewed research that has been done on cannabis, yeah, it's not possible. Anyway. Brain freeze. Wow. I think I just lost my topic of thought. Who's talking? I really did just completely forget what I was talking about. What the fuck was I just talking about? And I like literally watched it run away. Like I had it and I had a little bit and that was it. Like it was like a reverse tip of the tongue phenomenon. Like what the fuck was that? What was I just thinking about? Oh, that motherfucker on Reddit, yeah. Reinventing the wheel. How the fuck am I reinventing the wheel? This other study, it was on taking all of the terpenes of the superclass, essentially, and the terpenes really that are relevant in cannabis that is smoked. So he was doing it as relevant as he could to the market that we have. Because he said that cannabis today is high in fentanyl and this, that, and the other. I read this stuff. But what he was doing was studying what he's seen molecularly as the effects on receptors of the terpenes. That doesn't tell us anything at all about what the experiential effect of that terpene is synergistically working inside of cannabis. As I just said, just as beta-myrcene can be analgesic tested by itself and then proliferative of psychoactivity and then also proliferative of sedation of beta-caryophyllene, depending on which the stronger affinity is for. And what's present? Yeah. Egg. Also, I'm pretty sure that guy's work was more to focus on breeding, and I guess that's like, because I had mentioned at the end of my paper that the ultimate goal eventually, what I could see my work ending up being, would be a way to understand cannabis so that you could selectively breed and know what the outcome is going to be, regardless of whatever. The guy even said in the own paper, like, more research has to be done and this has to be extrapolated upon to fully understand it, which that guy completely negated, which is like what I'm doing is. And then he was trying to say that that's invalid. I'm like, yeah, that doesn't make sense though. You see what I'm saying? I don't know if he answered back or not, but damn. I even presented like novel formula, like, and show the formula, not hiding it, like saying that I have some secret thing or something and just pretending. I showed the formula, alpha pinene, beta pinene formula. You can't fucking make that shit up. Like, it works. I promise. Take any confirmation of analysis, apply it. Don't lie to yourself. Don't try to make it not work. Apply it genuinely, honestly, and it works. Wait, okay. Alpha pinene equivalent to sativa, beta pinene equivalent to indica. Beta pinene has more so of, and I'm sure there'd be other reasons for this, but terpologically speaking, how I built Terpological protocol, what it is built upon right now so far, is the characteristic expression of landrace cannabis. And the fuck with the Terpological protocol. I'm so fucking stoned, I don't even know if I can keep talking. I'm trying. Beta pinene is equivalent to indica. Alpha pinene is equivalent to sativa. Alpha pinene plus beta pinene, each taken in a ratio to their sum of both, is approximately equivalent in ratio to the lean sativa over indica, alpha over beta. Okay? Or alpha dot dot beta, alpha sativa dot dot indica. When that works, it works. When it works, it works. Like, it just works. So if you get a 64, you do the math, like, whatever it is, so 0.17 and 0.06, you add those two together, 0.17, 0.06 is 21, 2, 3, 0.23. So 0.17 of 0.26 would be like, it put it like a 60-40 lean. So you just do the math, average it to the closest, 65, 60, 55, 50. And when it does not work, there's two situations thus far that I found that are applicable to knowing something pertinent about the strain. That is when the beta pinene formula is null in opposition. So it does not work, but what it shows itself in opposition to what is expressed. Okay. Now, not totally opposite, just in opposition to. So if it says 60-40, maybe it says it's 60-40 sativa, and it just says it's, you know, it's indica from what it says it on the pack or something. But you're doing the profile read, and your alpha pinene, beta pinene lean says that it's 60-40 sativa because alpha pinene is higher. So that being wrong, you get it speaks to the genetics. It speaks to the complexity of the genetics. When you have opposition in totality, you get quickly back to landrace expression. So very simplified genetics when you have opposition in totality. So when you get one that says it's a complete opposite, that's what I've seen in every one of those strains. It says like there's 0% of this one, but 100% of this one. That they have very, very basic, pure, clean genetics. Which just I thought I need to look into that and see which one of those is indica, which one's sativa, and see if how that works out. Anyways, I'm very, very stunned. Oh, I've been thinking about starting to meditate again. I have not meditated for several years, and it would probably be good for me. I know it would be good for me. Get my mind clear and whatnot. Have some natural ecstasy. I've never tried ecstasy. You know, for people thinking that know me from my hometown things, that I've done the things that they think that I've done, I really haven't done that. Like, I've never tried ecstasy. I've never tried LSD. Unfortunately, I did try that N word one time. Did not like it in any way, shape, or form. No, I didn't try that. Excuse me. I tried crack cocaine. That's what I tried. I didn't try that other stuff. The M word. I didn't want to. I had the chance to, but I didn't want to. No, I've tried crack cocaine twice. But the first time it was with a like really bad crackhead who was like, he had like a whole fucking ounce of crack that he just stole from somebody or picked up or he did something, I don't know. And he was all wigged out and he kept like fucking like trying to tell me how to hit it the entire time. And I mean, granted, I was kind of like trying to smoke it a little bit. You just tell me to tilt it up and don't fucking like hit it like a bowl and I'll get what you mean, right? Just tell me to smoke it like opium or smoke it like hash. I know what the fuck it means. But the whole time he's like, oh no, take it down, take it down, take it down, take it down, slow, take it down, take it down, take it slow, take it closer, closer, all right, push that back in, push. I'm like, oh my fucking god, dude, I'm done. Go. I couldn't handle it. We ended up like while we were driving, dropping that fucking dude off out in like the middle of nowhere in West Virginia, which is where he lived at. I guess was his fucking stomping grounds or whatever. But he just had us fucking nuts. Like he was crazy motherfucker. He was all wilding out. That's when I used to run with this one guy. He was a good bit older than me, but he was really cool.
Just now. Just now. Just now. Joe Snow. Joe Snow. Yes, that's his name. Joe Snow. For real. S-N-O-E. Snow. But no. Funny. People think I really give names. His name is Joe, but it's anyway. Oh boy, I don't even know anymore. People run their mouth here about me growing cannabis where I live, and now it's causing issue. I don't know if I can grow cannabis. It makes me happy, so take it away from me, you know? Yeah, it seems logical. Seems like something I would want to do if I was another person. And I say that not from my landlord. My landlord doesn't even give a shit. If somebody here said something at one of their local meetings, and the person in charge like, oh, no, not growing cannabis. It's federal subsidized or something like that. I'm like, what does that have? It's not federal land. Like, I don't know what that has to do with anything. Just weird. So, not going to grow cannabis because I'm just not going to piss with it. I have the ability to grow weed elsewhere if I absolutely need to. So, that's what I have resorted to. Hence, no plant updates for the past week and a half. So, I apologize for the lack of content recently, but fucking. That's what you get when you live around Karens. Karens. No, boy. Wow. I hope you enjoyed my stories this evening, and remember, disclaimer on my page, all my stories, they may be true, they may not be true, I don't know. I make shit up all the time. You have to figure that out. Everything about cannabis is true. The stuff I talk about otherwise, the stories I tell from my supposed past, may indeed be my personality online. But that is what it is. You parse that for yourself. Take it easy.